Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, search intensifies for Ellis in murder of 9-year-old Spanish Town schoolgirl. The police have intensified their search for Giovanni Ellis, otherwise called Indian or Coolie Man, who has been named as a person of interest in the gruesome killing of 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Up to yesterday, investigators believed Ellis of a Dublin address was hiding in the Kingston Eastern Police Division. He was reportedly seen in the Harborview area. Ellis, who is out on bail on a rape charge, is considered armed and dangerous. Assistant Commissioner Wayne Josephs has said law enforcement is fully mobilized. A $2 million reward is being offered for information leading to the capture of Farragon's attacker. Farragon was found dead Friday night inside a barrel at her home, partially nude and bearing signs of physical abuse. Police believe she was sexually assaulted before being killed. Her 16-year-old brother made the horrific discovery around 8 p.m. while their mother was away from the home. The murder has sparked national outrage with calls for stronger protection of children and swift justice. This is a desecration of innocence that shakes us to our very core, said Lord Adams Thomas, CEO of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, which has deployed crisis support to the family. Counseling for the mother and her 3 surviving children, aged 16, 6, and 3, began on Monday through the Ministry of Justice's Victim Services Division. The opposition People's National Party called the killing an affront to our collective humanity and urged a shift from grief to action. This cannot be business as usual, said MP Denise Daly, opposition spokesperson on gender, disabilities and inclusion. Let this be the moment we say never again. Child advocacy group Hear the Children's Cry also expressed alarm, warning of growing desensitization to child violence. We need more than sympathy, we need urgent, coordinated action, said attorney and advocate Priscilla Doheny. National Security Minister Dr. Harris Chang labeled the killing an unspeakable act of evil and has instructed Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake to deploy all available resources to apprehend Ellis. Anyone with information is asked to contact 119 Crime Stop at 311 or the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305. 2 shot, 1 fatally in Kingston attack. Gunmen launched an attack on Maiden Street in eastern Kingston on Saturday morning, killing a 29-year-old handyman and injuring another man. The deceased has been identified as Akeem Samuels, who lived on the street where the attack occurred. The other victim remains hospitalized with gunshot wounds. Police reports indicate that at about 9 a.m., both men were on Maiden Street when a motor car drove up and its occupants opened fire. The assailants fled the scene. Residents rushed the injured men to the Kingston Public Hospital, where Samuels was pronounced dead. Investigators from the Eletson Road Criminal Investigation Branch are leading the probe. No motive has been confirmed. Alleged street race ends in death of St. Elizabeth farmer. Police in St. Elizabeth are investigating a fatal crash that occurred during an alleged street race involving a motorcycle on Friday night. The deceased is 22-year-old T-Boy Booth, a farmer of Great Bay in Treasure Beach in the parish. Reports are that about 9:10 p.m., Booth was riding a single motorcycle without registration plates when he allegedly engaged in a race with another motor vehicle. During the race, his motorcycle collided with a BMW motor car. He was taken to the Black River Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. Water quality issues cited at the 3 recreational facilities in St. Anne. Residents in St. Anne who source water for drinking and domestic use from 2 springs near Downs River are being urged to treat with bleach or by boiling before consuming. That advice has come from Leroy Scott, chief public health inspector for the parish, who was responding to questions from councillors at the monthly meeting of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation on Thursday. It followed his report indicating water quality issues at the 3 recreational facilities in the parish. He said that people usually source water for domestic use from 2 springs near the Ocherias to Draxall Main Road. The report from the Public Health Department outlined that the Duns River Beach, White River and the Duns River did not meet recreational water quality standards due to the presence of coliform, indicating contamination. But he said the springs from which people usually source water for consumption are not connected to Duns River.
Persons tend to prefer to consume water from springs for various reasons, cultural and otherwise, but it presents some amount of risk because the quality of the water is not known. So we usually ask that persons be cautious when collecting those water for consumption, for domestic use, that they treat it before by boiling or adding household bleach, 1-2 drops per liter before they consume it, to be certain that it is safe for drinking. There is not likely to be any significant impact from just physical contact with the water. And so it is from that angle that we are saying that it is serious, but not one to be alarmed about, just for us to find solutions in order to ensure that if and when people use the water for recreation, it is safe enough if the water is accidentally ingested and not result in persons having any type of gastrointestinal infection as a result of that ingestion.
DPP revokes a fiat for NEPA NRCA to prosecute environmental breach cases. The Director of Public Prosecutions has revoked the general fiat that had been granted to 2 state agencies in relation to the prosecution of cases concerning environmental breaches. DPP Paula Llewellyn also reiterated that her office has taken over the prosecution of all cases relating to environmental breaches that were previously being handled by the agencies. The development stems from the controversial decision of the National Environment and Planning Agency and the Natural Resources Conservation Authority last November to end the prosecution of Tradewinds Citrus for a December 2023 oil spill in the Rio Cobre. The agencies ended prosecution after signing a confidential agreement with the company. The agreement was reached without the knowledge of the DPP's office or the responsible ministry. The decision sparked outrage among environmental groups who sent a letter to then acting DPP Claudette Thompson last December seeking an investigation into the matter. Ms. Llewellyn says since then her office has committed to providing periodic training exercises for NRCA and NEPA in relation to best practices in prosecution and other areas. Additionally, an assistant DPP and 2 other Crown Counsel will provide guidance to the agencies at the investigating and the evidence-gathering stages, as well as in relation to the decision to prosecute. The DPP revealed that since then, NEPA has been invited to apply for a fiat to prosecute on a case-by-case basis. She added that any fiat, if granted, will be on condition that the actual prosecution be handled by a clerk of court or a Crown Counsel assigned by the DPP. In the meantime, the DPP's office has obtained a guilty plea in 1 of 7 matters it has taken over from NEPA and the NRCA. Azuri Chemicals pleaded guilty on Friday to the development and the construction of a facility for the storage of hazardous materials, toxic chemicals, and other similar substances, contrary to Section 9(2) of the Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act. The company was fined $50,000, the maximum fine prescribed under the Act. This year, that law was amended and the fine increased to $5 million or 5 years imprisonment, but this decision is not retroactive. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.